Everyone, and welcome to our online info session for the Immigration Legal Assistant Program at Ashton College. My name is Ashley, and I'm from the Marketing and Communications team. Today, I have Adela here with me, who is one of our amazing faculty members at Ashton College. Thanks for joining us today, Adela. As well, we have Adam and Demi in the back end monitoring our online chat. So there's a lot of ways to engage with us during the session, and we love hearing your questions. So on Zoom, you can use the chat box, the question and answer box, or the raise hand function. If you're tuning in on Facebook Live, you can leave us a comment and we'll be able to answer your questions live during the session. If you're watching this video on YouTube, you can leave us a comment or give us a call at 604-899-0803 or toll free at 1-866-759-6006. So before we start, I just want to share the program dates and costs with you. Both the online and in-class sessions start on September 12th. So webinars are held on Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. PST. And for those of you choosing the in-class option, classes are held Monday to Friday from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. PST. The application fee is $40 for domestic students and $140 for international students. The tuition fee is $5,200 for domestic students and $6,500 for international students. And all this information can be found on our program webpage. So now on to our interview portion. Adela, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I love doing this. This is so fun to have an info session. So could you start by sharing with us what made you want to get into this field? How did you get started?
I was always drawn to law, and at a very young age, I started volunteering at a law firm. And that's where I developed an interest in the field, and I wanted to start learning about law. So it was initially when I volunteered in a firm, and that's where my interest was triggered. Yeah.
That's very cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your career experience and educational background? Did you end up going to school?
Yes, I am actually a Law Society member in Ontario. I'm a licensee. I obtained my license in 2010. And then I also have my certification in the year 2011 from Humber College for the Immigration Consultant Program. I've also obtained my dispute resolution from York University. With respect to my career, I started off actually as a legal assistant, initially working for law firms, worked my way up to become a law clerk and then senior law clerk. I learned quite a bit in those positions, and then eventually opened up my own firm and have been operating my firm from Toronto ever since.
Oh, congratulations. That's a lot of achievements. And how did you get involved with Ashton College?
I started working with Ashton College in the year 2018, and I actually started teaching initially the immigration consultant program. Right now, I'm teaching the legal assistant program.
Nice. And how do you find this program beneficial for students? What do you think students will enjoy or appreciate the most about the program?
I definitely think that students who are just like me initially, if you're drawn to law and you have an interest there, I think that I believe if you would like the exposure in learning regarding, for example, our government system and how our laws are created and how they're enforced and how the courts work, this program gives you that exposure, and you could use that exposure to apply to positions and get a job. I also like to say that, initially when I start with the ILAC course, I usually start with informing the students that they should investigate and try to look for positions to volunteer for, and at the same time, while they're learning in school, they can get experience on the job as well. So I think that it provides the students quite a bit of exposure in the legal field.
Yeah, it sounds really versatile. What are some of your favorite classes to teach or aspects of the program that you get most excited about teaching?
I love teaching the first ILAC, and I like teaching the third one so far. And that might change. I like teaching all of them, but those are my favorites. The reason why I like the first one is because, you know, if I have a few students in my class that have never been exposed to law, I love, you know, teaching them about the Constitution, the Charter, about case law, the common law system, and how immigration law works. Then when they get to the ILAC 3 course, they have the background knowledge, and we're kind of reading through the case laws. So it's their understanding the information I'm providing to them, and the communication is much easier at that point. Yeah.
That's really cool. It must be exciting. Yeah. Teaching like fresh minds to mold, you know, and then they're learning with it. That is a very
Absolutely.
cool. What do you, what would you say your teaching style is like?
Very much active. I like to, I don't consider my students as, it's more of a setting of we're all colleagues working with one another. So the way I teach is I'm training students for the field. So it's like an on-job training. I like to expose them to things I have learned personally, things not to do, things to do, and things that will be beneficial to them. And over the years, I believe that students have benefited tremendously from my advice, because they have sent me emails, they have got positions, some have even obtained positions working for courts, tribunals. I have one student that is actually an adjudicator, for example, at the Immigration and Refugee Board. So you know, quite a bit of achievements, you know, based on the exposure together with their hard work on the field, which got them to where they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet your experience is such an asset, both to you and to them for the program.
Thank you, and their experience as well. So a lot of students in the classes, they have excellent experiences as well. So when they share their experience, it's beneficial for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, really relatable. That's so cool. How do you find the online environment for a classroom?
Online environment is convenient. Right now, courts and tribunals, most of them are still virtual. So when we have, I definitely have scheduled hearings, observations for students. So as I said earlier, my teaching style is very much active learning. Students are participating. It's more discussion based as opposed to me, you know, reading off a textbook or a slide. I don't do that. It's you know, exposed the students to a topic, and then we have a discussion regarding it. So the online learning helps with access to sources more efficiently, and when they are observing hearings, court hearings, tribunal hearings, they can do it in their own comfort from their own home, in their own environment.
Yeah, I think like online discussion and like open engagement is so engaging for the class. What are your expectations of the students who enroll in the program? How much study time will students need each week to be successful?
That's a good question. It depends on the student. It depends on you know, what the style of learning of the student is. Everybody has a different learning style. Some might prefer to listen to lectures, and some might prefer to read and then attend the lecture. So whatever works with the student, I think that students should definitely spend some time towards getting ready for the examinations and certain classes. But if the students are listening to my lectures, which I said earlier, it's more discussion based, they're actively learning. So let's say I have a student that's working full-time and they have a hard time reading the chapter. As long as you're listening and contributing to that discussion, even if you're not understanding what we're talking about, but you're asking questions to clarify or asking for direction, I think that I believe the student will learn the concepts if the student is participating and is more involved in the class discussions and is participating.
Absolutely, that makes sense. What are some of the career options or typical next steps for students after they do graduate from the program?
So actually right now I'm teaching ILAC 2, which is it deals more with accounting, and Law Society requires especially law clerks to mainly the licensees to know about the accounting side, but it's beneficial for legal assistants to also learn a little bit about the accounting side, so that they have knowledge in case the licensee requires them to complete the accounting. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's not just working on files. Let's say you have a background in accounting and you want to get into legal accounting and do the bookkeeping for the law firms. That's one option for you. It's an option, right? Some people are hiring for that specifically, or students can look into working for courts, as I said earlier, tribunals. So don't limit yourself to just law firms. You could, the students can look at government offices as well.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of avenues you could take. That's cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, hi, sorry to interrupt, but we do have a question from Facebook Live.
Oh, perfect. What's the question?
Okay, so the question is, what was your favorite or most interesting part about working in this industry?
My favorite part is the customer, the client's feedback and reaction, just providing good quality work, and then hearing from them that they are satisfied with the work. That's my favorite. Other than that, attending hearing court trials, that's the other side that is also very fun.
Those must be really active and interesting, I could imagine, right?
Absolutely.
What is a typical day in the life for this job position? I know you said there was a lot of different avenues you could take, but a rundown.
Well, I always say to the students to first look at your calendar for the day. I think in any company, any profession, you first need to see, okay, what is today? What do I have scheduled for today? Keeping a very organized schedule is number one. So looking at your schedule, seeing what you have on your schedule for the day, and then organizing yourself accordingly. So if you have, let's say the assistant has to work on an urgent file that has to be completed, then working on that file because it has a limitation time, the application needs to be submitted. If clients need to be called, then making those phone calls to clients. So, my day is the same, just like any other person. I think legal assistants have a very similar style as well, where they're looking at what is more pressing to complete and then completing that task. So I do the same thing. I'm pretty much answering a lot of emails in one day on the phone and attending a lot of virtual hearings.
Sounds like a lot of exciting responsibilities, but that's cool. Very busy, but good busy.
Yeah, thank you.
What advice would you give to students who are brand new to the industry or changing careers from something radically different, no experience?
Yeah. So like I said earlier, a lot of some of my students, when they come into ILAC 1, they have some might not have any experience into law. So one of the things that I always say to them is it's a new language you're learning about. You're learning a new language pretty much, just like if you're going into medical field, it's a new language and it's new concepts. So it is difficult, just like any other field, but if the student is, as I said, contributing, making an effort to participate and ask questions, I am here to help as much as possible. I usually tell students to send me an email if they're not understanding something. And I've been told that I'm good at responding quickly. So I'm not one of those individuals that will not answer a question. So I'm here to help the student. They shouldn't feel nervous, and just take it one step at a time. And I would say don't be too hard on yourself. Give yourself the credit. It's basically a new industry. Eventually, the concepts will be understood.
That's amazing. I mean, that's so great to have an instructor that's so open for engagement and, feedback. I think being open to learn really helps anyone succeed.
Absolutely.
What qualities or characteristics make people best suited for this career path? You kind of said a couple, be organized, but what else?
Having, yes, organization, it will help tremendously. Multitasking, and because sometimes things happen and you have to drop everything and work on something else. So being able to multitask, or working towards adapting to multitask if you have a difficult time multitasking. So there's always room for learning if that's a difficult task for someone, as well as customer service skills. It's very important to deal with clients in the best way possible, so that they're coming back to the firm and bringing more service or referrals. So customer service is important. In addition to that, writing skills, drafting, writing skills. And those are things you can also learn in the program. Like, we do have courses that discuss all of these things. I teach the concept of organizing files, your calendars, how to meet clients, how to conduct interviews. Like, one of my assignments for students is conducting an actual meeting with the client. The first part is over the phone, the second part is actually live in person. So I am training the students, as I said earlier, actively, so they're ready for the position when they graduate.
That's amazing. That will give them so much confidence in the industry. That's really cool. How would you say the industry has changed during your years of experience? Obviously, we went through COVID. What's it like these days?
It's improving for the better, and I love that what came out of COVID with the technology. It's becoming more convenient, I believe. So there's a lot of costs associated to taking matters to courts, and just the legal process is quite expensive. So having a portal, for example, where you can conveniently upload documents rather than hiring like a third-party company to take those documents to the court. So there's a lot of really amazing things that are being developed by the courts and by the tribunals that are assisting the public in making things more efficient. And access to justice is getting, I guess you could say, a little bit more better.
I feel like things going online has been so beneficial in so many ways, honestly, for convenience.
I agree, yeah.
I'd love to open up the floor to any questions at this point. If anyone in the audience wants to, feel free to raise your hand or drop questions in the chat. We can read them out loud for Adela.
So we actually do have a couple of questions from the Q&A, and this one says, hi, can you please explain what are the different pathways of becoming registered immigration consultant?
Okay, so in order to become an immigration consultant, you have to go through the Queen's University. So with respect to the certification that Ashton College is providing, it's for the legal assistant program. If you're interested in the immigration consultant program, you can definitely go on Google and just write down Queen's University and obtained. I believe they have a really good breakdown on their website as to what they're looking for from applicants. I hope that answered the question.
Perfect. So there's another one, and it says, how about the annual or hourly income in this field? What is the hiring range in this industry?
Okay, that's a very good question. It depends on what firm you're applying to. So depending on how the firm is doing in business, right? Just like any other company, If the company is growing and they have more clients, they can afford to pay people more, they're going to pay you more. And if you're bringing a lot of great qualities to the firm and you're an asset to the firm, obviously they want to keep you and pay you more. I would say that you can work your way up to a pretty high salary if you're working for a bigger law firm. But obviously starting off, if you have no background in law and you're starting off fresh, you have to be prepared to work your way up to that bigger salary.
Hi, sorry, but we have a raised hand by Nora. Nora, you're allowed to, could you turn on your mic? I have gave you access to talk.
You can type the question to Nora if that's easier.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hi. How are you, Adela? Thank you so much for the information you're supplying us with.
And thank you, Nora. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, my dear. I started the other way around with my life. I did immigration and policies studied at UBC, but then it was like 3-4 years ago, and then I had other issues in my life. I couldn't, and I did not go forward to become a registered consultant as I should have. But meanwhile, I'm doing interpreting for the courts,
Nice.
and I'm thinking, if I take this program, for example, is there, like, I don't know, would it make it easier for me to move forward with my profession?
The profession with interpreting? Is
No,
that,
with immigration, like being, for
yes.
example,
So you said, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, for example, for starters, helping lawyers in their work and stuff like that. But I want to progress because I just don't want to be limited to office work all the time.
I see. Well, if you want to represent clients as an actual licensee, you would have to go through the certification and get your license. But if you are looking to assist lawyers and licensees under their supervision and delegation, you can definitely do that through this program. We can offer you exposure to more information and training, and we can prepare you to work for a firm.
Yeah, I don't want to have my own. I don't want to be a consultant myself. I'm not interested in that. But I was wondering, since I took those lessons, for example, would I have to redo them again if I start studying the program?
The courses that was it with Ashton College, or you would have to speak to I believe there's a student services in Ashton College. You would have to speak to them and they would provide you information in that regard. However, I could say that because you have that background, that's going to be very beneficial towards the program. Like, you're going to understand a lot of the concepts that I was referring to initially in ILAC 1 and 2 and 3 and so forth. You're going to relate to it and be more involved in the discussions because of your background knowledge that you have.
Thank you so much, Adela. Thank you.
No problem. Happy to help.
Were there any more questions, Semi?
Yeah, we do have one more here. I'm not sure if Adila is comfortable with answering this or she has experience with this, but it says, how does online learning differ from the in-person option in terms of the course format? Will they be equally efficient for students?
I actually do. I also teach in the morning, so it's in person and a little bit online. In person, you have I guess you can, physically see your fellow classmates, and then I'm not, we have the cameras on in virtual too. But you're not going to be in the comfort of your home, and you're going to be driving or taking transit to get to that location every day. So you have to consider that, number one. Gas is expensive right now. The in-person is nice, but virtual is nice as well. I personally like virtual because it is more convenient, and it's more efficient, in my opinion. But some people might prefer to actually go through the travel and see people in person, and sit at a desk, but the lessons are the same. It's the same thing, and it's just you're just seeing people in person, that's all.
Perfect. And we do have two more, I believe. This one says, how about the working with immigration government offices? So I'm guessing what they're asking is, how does someone who complete this program, how is it beneficial for working with the immigration government offices?
So you can definitely apply to, for example, the IRB or IRCC. They have on their website the job section. Usually job postings are on there. You can read about the qualifications, but there is clerk work and assistant work always required over there. They have to process the applications, the notices, the documents that are coming into to the tribunal or to the department. So they need assistance to do that. So I would say that this program does give you the training for organization, for file maintenance, for preparing and organizing and filing documents. So yes, it does give you that training, and it is beneficial towards that particular position. Yeah. I don't know if I answered that question. If you would like me to add on more, just you're on. I think you're on mute. There we go.
Yeah, I think you answered the question pretty well. Whoever asked that question, if you want Adela to talk more about it, just drop us a comment in the chat.
Yeah.
So we do have one more here, and it asks, how many levels is this ILAC? I'm not sure if person's asking about number of courses or the structure of the program. If you can just explain a little bit more about that, that would be beneficial.
Absolutely. So if you're asking how many courses are in the legal assistant program, I believe it is 6. And Katie can correct me on this.
Is that what you meant by ILAC 1, ILAC 2, ILAC 3? Those are the course names?
Sorry, so for the courses in total, there are 10. My apologies. Yeah. So the courses in full, there's 10, and there's 320 hours.
Okay, someone else asked another question. I am new to both the law and immigration fields. What kinds of jobs I could get after finishing this program?
Okay, so you could apply to work for a law firm. You could also apply to work, as I said, with the government offices. So like IRCC, IRB, or if you prefer to work at, maybe you don't want to work in immigration, but you want to branch out and work in another area. I mean, you are getting trained in the legal assistant, immigration legal assistant, but you're also learning about the duties of an actual legal assistant. So you could apply to other courthouses too, other types of other areas of law as well, and see if that they're willing to reach out and contact, and you can go from there. But you can apply to firms and courthouses, as I said. Yeah.
Perfect. So another question, will this ILAC be able for us to learn the proper processing of applications, like for skilled workers, student visitor, work permits, etc.?
Yes. Yeah, so you're going to learn about the sponsorship applications and the process. You're going to learn about the economic class. You're going to learn about refugees. We're going to expose you to all the great areas and all those topics. Yeah.
I think that's all the questions we have in Q&A right now. Ashley, do you want to continue?
Perfect. Those were some great questions. Adela, do you have any final words of advice or any thoughts to share with us that we missed?
I want to thank everybody for their questions and your interest in the immigration, the legal assistant immigration program. I like to say to you that if you have any other questions that you forgot to ask today, you can always reach out to Ashton College Student Services, and they can forward that email to me, and I'll be more than happy to respond back to you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. This has been very insightful, and I do love taking the opportunity to have a conversation with someone so experienced with like the hands-on knowledge. And I think students would be very lucky to have you as their teacher.
Thank you.
More information, you can find all of the links in the description or in our comments, or check out our website and read all about the program information or learn more about the registration process. So thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you have a really great rest of your day.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we actually have one more question from the attendee. I'm gonna let them talk. So talking is permitted now. You feel free to unmute your mic and ask your question.
Hi, thank you very much for the information. And I would like to know more about the regulatory body and licensing after finishing this program, please.
Hello, Geeta. Thank you for that question. I'm assuming you're referring to becoming an immigration consultant. Is that correct?
No, I already studied immigration consultancy at Ashton College, but that was many years ago. And unfortunately, I couldn't go for licensing exam. I didn't apply for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I am thinking of going back to the field, but starting from this new course, which is legal assistant. But I'm thinking, my question is there any requirement after we finish the course like immigration consultancy to get a license to work in this job, or how is going to work? Is it only one-time certification?
Yeah, that's correct. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the 10 courses and then complete the 320 hours. And once you do that, you'll obtain your certification from Ashton College, and you can at that point apply to work in the industry.
Thank you. Then we don't need to just upgrade like when we are an immigration consultant every year. You don't need to take new courses.
Yeah, but the best thing about becoming a immigration legal assistant is that you don't have to worry about maintaining a business or a license or getting all those clients and going to court. You just go to a job and work in the field, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate the information.
You're welcome, Geeta.
Perfect. Thanks for that final question. If there are no more final questions, thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Adela. Obviously, if anyone has any more further inquiries, please feel free to email or call our program specialist at Ashton. The email is ps1@ashtoncollege.ca. And thank you so much for taking the time to join our info session tonight. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.